What you're about to watch is a short documentary concerning business in rural Vermont. In particular, a small-scale sawmill, P&R Lumber.
Wolcott, Vermont. Population 1,456. Whose downtown is dominated by Buck's Furniture, who recently celebrated their 50th anniversary. So we went to Buck's, and we asked them what's it like to run a small business in rural Vermont.
Challenge. We're fortunate because we're in Wolcott. We're about an hour away from everybody, an hour away from Burlington, an hour away from Barrie, Newport. So not all areas have a downturn, so somebody's doing something to keep us surviving. I'm worried now probably about the gas prices because we are a destination store and it does cost money to get here.
Sandy describes Buck's location in Wolcott to be ideal for several reasons. However,
a lot of our customers, so yes, it's ideal. Except for having to spend too much in advertising and our delivery costs are high because we go so far and service such a big area. Taxes are fairly high because there's not a whole lot of business in Wolcott to help the tax base.
Do you do a lot of radio?
When asked where they get their furniture, Sandy made it clear that Buck's has also been affected by the shifts in the global market due to outsourcing by their suppliers for price factors. We also asked if Buck's does any business with P&R Lumber.
We don't. No, we don't build furniture. We do. We use P&R for maybe what we need here for our own structures. Yes, and we try to do business as locally as possible.
Yep, definitely.
Because that's important.
According to Sandy, certain families in Wolcott have been shopping at Buck's for generations, which this study has found as an emerging pattern for rural businesses.
We have generations now that my dad started out with, my dad and mom when they opened the business that they did business with when they first got married.
Okay,
and
so
now
your parents,
their kids, and now we're on like a third generation of starting out, so that's kind of cool. Makes you feel old though, and you don't think you are.
Definitely.
P&R Lumber was started by one man and his brother-in-law in December of 1969. It's located 2 minutes down the road from the Wolcott General Store. And while the tall stacks of lumber stretch through the yard, just a stone's throw away from Route 2, you wouldn't notice it unless you were looking for it. Unfortunately, on this Monday in May, the mill wasn't running. But one of the few employees, named Chad, was willing to show us around.
Oh, depending on size, smaller ones are about a minute. Bigger one might.
We asked Chad if he knew some of the loggers that they received their logs from, and he didn't, so we took it upon ourselves to interview some of the local loggers and see what they had to say about the timber industry. Sam Lincoln is a self-employed logger from Orange, Vermont. He relies on a few pieces of machinery and subcontractors to do his business. When asked what the greatest challenges were that he's faced as his career as a logger, his first response was globalization. It's an expanding market, said Sam, and today his logs are exported all over the world, to places such as Maine, Canada, and Europe. On the production side of the operation, Sam said that the price of fuel has also been a great challenge. When he began his work, diesel fuel cost $1 a gallon. Today, he pays $4 a gallon for diesel. Sam's customer base ranged from large-scale mills in both Canada and Maine to private landowners. Many of the logs sent to the mills are often shipped all over the world. More recently, Sam has begun selling some of his highest quality veneer to countries such as China and Pakistan. Due to the current flooding in the southern United States and the devastating tsunami in Japan, Sam points to the rise in demand for softwood saw lumber, of which P&R may benefit from. Today, if you go to the mill, you are likely to run into Vic or his wife Kathy in the front office, part owners of P&R. Vic was born in Hardwick, Vermont, and began working at P&R in 1970, following his time in Skagway, Alaska, working on the railroad. Vic starts by explaining his business's transition from wholesale to retail.
We've gone completely retail. We got out of the wholesale business. For years we had a wholesale business with pine and going to Canada. But by going retail, where we went from a 10-man crew down to a 5-man crew, and we from 3 million feet of logs to about 1 million feet of logs.
Vic describes how a shift in weather last year affected their business.
There weren't much snow, and so the carpenters worked all winter long, and that was an added thing. But this winter, there was so much snow that nobody was doing anything.
Yeah.
So, but I think if we watch our dollars, we can make we'll get by this.
Yeah.
We've been in business 40 years, so we've seen the good and we've seen the bad.
Yeah.
So.
Sam the logger also made reference to the effects that weather had on his business. In particular, he recounted the winter of 2008 and 2009, when the poor weather led to very low production. The following year, prices were high, and people were paying a lot of money for their logs. It's one of the truest forms of supply and demand, explained Sam. We then asked Vic who works at P&R.
Right now, we have 5 of us that are family, and then we have 3 employees that aren't. 3 or 2? 3, 2. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3.
So who are the customers that these employees serve?
Well, I can tell you, any carpenter, every 70 Deborah, we sell lumber to them. We'll sell 1 piece, we'll sell you 10,000 feet, but it's whatever works.
Yeah.
We asked Vic if large-scale corporations such as Home Depot affected his business.
I'm sure it affects us, but directly I don't notice it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, I can tell you right now, they're cheaper than us. We can't compete. We get a price.
Doug Layford, father-in-law to Sam and former custom sawmill owner, describes the business as being highly competitive. Although Home Depot is far from many small-scale mills, their prices remain lower. P&R, however, has managed to expand their sales beyond the borders of Vermont.
I have lumber that has gone to Florida. I got lumber that has gone to Newport, Rhode Island, gone to Maine, New Hampshire, Maryland, and New York.
So how would someone in Florida find out about P&R lumber?
We're nationally known. Oh, wow.
I mean, of course.
That's just a fluke. Just somebody that was from Vermont went down to Florida. He was down near the Keys. He said he was rebuilding all these. This is back when, I guess, the slave days. They had these little cabins down there, and they were going to rebuild all these cabins, and they had to have either hemlock or cedar lumber because of the termites, and so they purchased some.
Yeah.
Oh, Martha's Vineyard. We sold a lot of lumber to Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're national.
Nationally.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. I was in the hospital for a while, and this aide that took me down to the front, said he was from Bosnia, and I told him where I was. He said, I heard of you. So,
We asked Vic how much longer he plans on staying in the business, and while he informs us that his current status of health will keep him from being at the mill much longer, he has no doubt that P&R still has a future, led by his son and his brothers.
Okay.
I think it'll keep going.
Okay. Yeah.
P&R Lumber, a small-scale sawmill, contracting loggers to extract wood from just a 30-mile radius, has survived almost 40 years of business in rural Vermont. The ebb and flow of their success in the industry has depended largely on factors such as supply and demand, weather, and competition. Now, more than ever, their livelihood rests on the ability to work at a small scale while catering to a global market. The evolution of the forest products industry has led to changes in the technical, social, and geographic organization of production. From the increasing economies of scale and the growing international integration of the industry, mill size has increased while the number of mills has decreased, translating to job losses, especially in rural communities. In some regions across the nation, the scarcity of employment opportunity has led to an increase of poverty and socioeconomic depression in communities which rely on the extraction of timber. While the fate of Wolcott does not rest on the shoulders of P&R Lumber, this small sawmill still exists as a piece of the town's economy, whose per capita median income is $15,000 and has a population of which 14% falls below the poverty line. This leaves P&R as a rarity in today's rural communities. As Vic says, sawmills are scarcer than hen's teeth, becoming fewer and fewer all the time. However, Vic concludes that while times are tough, there's a fool born every day. A fool with enough courage to do as P&R has for 40 years.